Welcome to another episode of the FloTrack podcast. This week or this day, we have a special guest, the one and only Trayvon Bromell, the Baylor Bear, the New Balance athlete, and a man who just ran a pretty quick time this past weekend. Trey, first of all, how you doing, and what's been going on in Florida?
I've been doing well. As well as we all know, the pandemic kind of put a halt to a lot of things. But besides that, I'm living life, and I'm having fun with the time that I have right now.
So let's start about what happened this past weekend. There's a track meet called the Showdown in O-Town. How
Yeah.
did this meet come about? Who kind of led the charge, and to get all these elite athletes all in the same place in the middle of a pandemic is kind of impressive. So how did that meet come about?
That's a good question. I don't really know the full detail on it all. My coach was like, "Hey, we getting ready to race and be ready." That was pretty much the mindset. I didn't really focus too much on the details. I just wanted to make sure that when the time came, I was ready to race.
Did you know it was going to be a good field though, like with all those guys and girls in there?
Yeah. So a couple of days before the meet, we actually got the like the heat sheets and everything. So I kind of knew who was all racing, but we didn't know kind of until like the day before what the heats were going to look like. So that was kind of the confusing situation because not knowing like what heat I run in, who I'm gonna be racing against. But I kind of already had it in my mentality. Like I was talking to my teammates at practice. I was like, man, whoever my heat, like I'm just going. Like I don't even care who I'm racing against because as we all know, I've been ran in so many years and dealt with things up and down. So it was like, man, I'm just ready to race.
You ran 10:04, win legal against Andre De Grasse. Running against Andre, that must have been kind of a unique experience because you and him went back and forth during your college days and even in 2015. What was it like kind of seeing him on the start line? Kind of was it bringing back old memories?
Honestly, it's like, man, since I came to Raina's group, it like I don't even see it as that. I know most people would probably see when we line up like, oh man, it's like old NCAA times. But honestly, like he's my teammate, he's family, so it's not even looking at that for me no more. Like we both just trying to run fast, we both trying to have fun. So it's not even looking at like, oh man, I got Andre right here. Like I remember how NCAA was. Like I don't even look at it like that no more. Like we're racing, we're running against a common goal, and we're just having fun with it.
College is a long time for you now, I guess. Long time ago.
Man, look, it definitely is for undergrad because as you know, I turned pro my sophomore year. So even though I still went to school, as far as competing on a college team, that was kind of different. It's been a while, since competing like for Baylor. But college, no, the college don't seem too far away because as you know, I got my master's as well. So I got that last year. So it was not too long ago that I was still doing schoolwork.
Uh, so you're in Florida. I guess talk a little bit about why you made that move. What you're getting from it immediately? Kind of how long, when did you do it? How long you been there? And kind of what are you getting out of this transition in your post collegiate life?
So last year, to a lot of people who don't know, the meet that I competed in this past weekend was the same track that I raced last year and I got injured in. Like I wasn't able to finish the final. Went into the prelims, foot was bothering me. Went into the finals and pulled up halfway because of my adductor. And then that's kind of when I talked to Coach Ford. Everybody know Coach Ford like a father figure to me, so we talked. Just kind of had like a heart to heart about the situation and what's pretty much good for my career. So we started looking at places where I can go. As we all know, like with being on a college campus, like don't get me wrong, like Baylor staff, like they're like family to me as well, and they try to do everything that they could in their power. But when being on a college campus, you're no longer a priority. So I always came second, even with me being a pro. So I need to be somewhere where it's just a pro environment, working with guys who do this on a daily basis. So we started looking at groups, and definitely Raina name came up. Talking to my agent, and shoot, he just has a big history of helping guys come back. Especially those who dealt with injuries and he has a great resume. He's a great person. So, it just fit. Yeah, it fit perfectly for me, especially being back home in Florida. Like, everybody know I rep Florida to the grave. So it felt good being back home and being able to be close to family, be able to see them, go down to the city more often. And like I said, the transition has definitely been harder because I'm at now a full-on pro group doing different workouts than I did at college, and so it is a lot different.
From the outside perspective, I mean, you were like the person everyone was talking about. You were the world indoor champion in 2016, and then got hit with that injury bug, and haven't really been in the headlines for 4 years now. But what has those 4 years been like for you? Specifically, 2018, 2019, when you kind of were like, all right, maybe this is my time to get back, and then another injury came back, and just how did you handle these past 4 years from the Olympic final to now?
Man, I'm not even gonna lie or sugarcoat the situation. This is an experience that I would not wish on nobody. It's it's very hard to honestly describe. Like, to people who know me, they know me as this strong individual, and I definitely am. But I definitely went down some dark roads throughout these past couple of years. Put myself in situations that I probably shouldn't have been in, and just not thinking straight, not being in the right headspace. Like, to the world, I can confess it. Like, I ended up getting a counselor this past year, just dealing with some things in my past that I had to honestly let go. That was kind of destroying me from the inside. Uh, and it's been hard, like I got to a place where, I wasn't talking to people. Uh, I just wanted myself. Like, I got lost in the destruction of my past and the downfall of my career. I just really didn't know how to think. Had just a lot of distractions and things throughout those past 4 years. Uh, and like I said, things that I expressed to Raina. Once I came to the group and he kind of helped me get this counselor, and I've been dealing with it, talking to my counselor. They've been helping me kind of get back on track. So, to people that see it and they're thinking like, oh, he's back running, like kind of like what because I watched the video of what y'all done the other day with me, and just kind of saying like, man, it's real deal a novel of what I've been through these past couple of years that a lot of people don't know, but it's definitely it was hard, man. I'm not gonna even lie to you, and it's not just because I felt like I couldn't run. Like, my mental state, my life, things just started going into a different form, and I went down a real dark alleyway, of life, and I had to crawl my way out, and it was something I had to do for myself, and it definitely was hard. Not even just track wise, because if my mental state and my outside of track life wasn't good, I knew I couldn't transition to the track, and bring myself back up to play, to be in the sport. Definitely a lot of spiritual growth. Everybody know I'm big on Christianity, and definitely that was one thing that helped me get out of that darkness, dealing with that situation. Dealing with the situations, So, like I said, I can't really speak too much on it right now, because, like I said, it's hard to talk about. People who know me personally know what I've been going through, but one day the world will know, and I'll voice it. But right now, like I said, it's been a hard couple of years, man. Like, for real. And then, like I said, with my previous coach, that coached me since I was 4 years old, like, she passed away. So it's still stuff like, that's going on that I'm dealing with. But I got a good training group that stay on top of me. My coaches, my family, they stay with me all the time, and we still growing and building from the situations.
A lot of times, professional athletes, when they're at their highest of highs, a lot of times that can mask, you know, internal struggles because everything's just going so well externally, winning NCAA titles, making world teams, Olympic teams. Do you think that as soon as the injury kind of put a halt to that it kind of just like made like there was nothing to mask like what you were feeling, I guess, in a way?
In
You know
a,
what I'm trying
in
to
a
say?
sense, I'm gonna say like this, like, because a lot of people won't understand, because a lot of people aren't brought up in the situation. Well, like, growing up, man, like, I ain't, like, everybody know my story. I ain't really have a lot. My family didn't have a lot. Like we always like we came from a struggle environment. So you take this kid who really had nothing. Like I said, I didn't have no like full like I didn't have a mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? I just had a mama, and I had like my family who tried to make sure that we was good. You take this kid, you give him, this life of excitement and everything, and then all of a sudden it's taken away. Like, and then everybody goes away. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just the fairy tale lifestyle of like, oh, I'm an athlete, I'm traveling the world. Like when the athleticism went, the people went. So all the people that was supporters or things who were like people who was all calling me family and bro and friend, they disappeared too. So you take a person who came from nothing, who really didn't have people around him to uplift him, then you give him that, and then you walk away from it. You got to understand how that deals with people internally. Like I study psychology, you know what I'm saying, and I know how the mind works and how the human mind works. So people have to start to understand like the way you treat people, even in their downfall, it can torment them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I try to preach to a lot of people. Like when you force somebody or you support somebody, like support them even through the downfall, because you never know what that people going through. So that's why I definitely salute the people who stayed by my side throughout these years, because these people know how hard it was.
I mean, 4 years is a long time, right? In running, and you started such a young age that you're still young. It's not like you are like a 29-year-old. Like you're still kind of in starting your prime of your career, which is kind of goes to show how good you were at such a young age. But do you during these 4 years when you're seeing, like someone like Noah Lyles come into the forefront and like start running well, and Christian Coleman start doing well, and you're kind of you were that guy, right? You were that guy in 2014, 2015. You're the person that says this guy's going to beat Bolt, right? And then because of a fluke injury, you just don't have the ability to be that guy for these 4 years. Was it hard being on the sideline watching fellow Americans kind of get that spotlight that used to be on you?
So almost like this the funny thing. Like I said, I might be just different from everybody. Like when it came to the sport, man, like it's a funny situation. Like my mama brought up to me kind of recently, like sometime like last year, not like recent, but sometime last year. But she, like I said, she's big on Christianity, and she always told me, she was like, Trey, you never done anything just for yourself. So the reason why I run track and the reason why I work hard is to support people and to motivate people and be an icon to people that not only came from the same background that I've came from, but to those who feel like they don't have a voice, or those who work hard and people still tell them no, because I was once told no. I was once a voice that was not heard. So when I got hurt, I didn't care about the medals. I can tell you right now, I don't know what my 2015 medal is. I don't know what my 2016 World Indoor Championship medal is. The reason I do what I do is because it's people out there, it's kids out there that the world has told them no. And once I got hurt, I felt like I was no longer a voice, because I was not on these platforms. I wasn't able to be in interviews to talk and motivate people. People wonder why I still have a fan base. It's because I talk about the real. I don't talk about myself. I talk about motivating people. I don't talk about winnings. Like that was my thing. I felt like once I lost my ability to run, I lost my voice. And that's why I think it kind of hurt me a lot, because when I lost my voice, I lost people. And once I lost people, I felt like I was alone. So I didn't care about seeing, other people come up and take the limelight. It's not about the limelight with me. It's about being engaged and motivating people, day in and day out. Like I'm gonna say this: when I did the giveaway for the $50,000 grants, for kids to go to school, man, you won't believe the stories, the pain people is going through across this globe. And to be able to see people say, Trey, just because you ain't give up, you motivated me not to give up, to not commit suicide. To do like it's bigger than a medal with me. Like it's always been. Like it's never been about winnings. And I think that's where we get confused, as humanity and even as athletes. Like we use this just to get praise, and it's not about us. And I think that's why it hurt me so much when I got hurt, because I couldn't do that no more. Like people knew me and they follow me as a track athlete. They don't follow me as just like a regular person. To when I voice this, they'll listen. They only listen when I'm able to run. So I felt like at a time that I lost my voice, to be able to motivate people.
Do you feel like this 10:04 is telltale sign that that voice is coming back?
Definitely, I definitely do. But like I said, I don't think it's for the reasons that a lot of people else want it to be. Like, like right after I ran that race, like I went right over to my mom, at the gate, and we just prayed. Like I said, we big on spirituality, so like my biggest thing was to give God the praise because, like I said, like it's bigger than me, when it comes to this track and field and life thing. So to be able to be a voice again to show people adversity, and drive and dedication. Like even when I got hurt, I never lost faith. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else may have lost faith in me, but it was like I tell people all the time, it's not about me. Like I kept faith in the person who gave me this power to run fast. And now, what I'm saying? Like I told y'all, I've been through a lot of things, man. I had to do a lot of reevaluating of my life and the things that I was doing, the pain that I was committing to the people, the bad things and the sinful things that I was doing. And once I started to rewire my mind to start doing things that I needed to do, I started hearing God talk to me, and things started changing. He blessed me with to come down to this group here in Florida with Raina. He done blessed, this group, and we train hard. And I think we're just seeing the seed that was planted from him at the end of the day.
With all the injuries you had during these past 4 years, did you, when you got on the track and ran? I mean, you posted that one Instagram video with Marvin Bracy, kind of doing a little start in there. But did you
Oh
know
yeah.
that you had a 10:04 in you, or like what did you think the race was going to become? Did you think it was going to be as fast as it was?
So it was hard to actually get on the track. To be honest with you, this weekend, and me and Raina talked about it after the race. So if you watch the video, I guess that surfaced the internet, like with the false starts. Like if you go to the first false start in our prelims, like I sat in the blocks, and I think it was because last year when I ran in that same meet, like I said, I got hurt. So kind of the nervousness of like, man, I want to get to that line without an injury, kind of was like right there on me at the block. So I was like frozen, like when the gun went off and I was still sitting there. And then kind of the second time it was like me just like Trey, just like, get it together, like just go, like whatever happens, happens. Like you got the faith. Like if you believe, then you got to understand, like you're gonna be straight. And then the third start, I was like, forget it, like just go. And once I came up and I started running, I started seeing myself separate. Like I looked out the corner of my eye and I seen that I was out by myself, and I just kept going. Like I said, it wasn't a perfect race. It was definitely things that I had to work on. I still have to work on to develop into a faster runner again. But honestly, I didn't believe what was gonna come up on that board. Like I was just like, whatever it is, I just hope it's good. I just want to keep developing, getting stronger. But when I seen the time, I was in shock. Like I said, last Thursday, not the Thursday that just passed, but the Thursday previous before last Thursday, my coach had passed away, and she was supposed to be at this track meet. So that was kind of like an emotional race altogether. Like I said, I got hurt last year at the same meet. My coach died, and she was supposed to be here. So it was more than just seeing that time, like that. The time was beautiful, but it was just like, man, I honestly, I still don't even know how to feel about the race. Like people talk about it. I'm seeing the stuff on Twitter and Instagram. I'm seeing like the comments and everything, and I love the support. But honestly, I still don't even know how to feel about it. Like I don't know if this is the beginning of something new. I don't know if this is a statement from God. I don't know. Like I still haven't basked in what happened this past weekend.
I mean, 10:04 typically is like normally most people who can make an Olympic final, their season opener is like 10:0 something, right? Most people don't open with a sub 10 anyway, unless obviously Gallon and Noah did. But Gallon normally runs like 10:0 every time he runs a season opener. I've looked at his stats. So when you look at that time and you kind of look at where you are physically, now that you have a whole year before the Olympics, um, are you like, if I asked you today, will you make the Olympic team? Is your answer differently than if I would have asked you a year ago today, will you make the Olympic team?
I think my answer has still been the same. I think because we live in a sport that's so black and white. Anything can happen. You can try to drag out the blocks and stumble, and that can cost you the race, or pull up or anything like that. So my thing is, if I'm fit, we all know me. I have that mentality. I will compete with anybody. I never cared about what somebody's time was at the previous race or last year, or I don't care if you ran the day before and you ran a world record. Like, I was always taught since a young kid, you have to beat me on that day. And I'm the type of competitor. I mean, we've seen that. Like, I tip my hat off to Asafa. Like, Asafa went 6:44 throughout the rounds in World Indoors, and I still won. And it's not because I'm just that type of athlete that just I don't get discouraged just by what somebody do. So when I step to the line, like, just know I'm not gonna be that competitor to just lay down. Like, I'm gonna make you run. So it's either I'm gonna make the team and win, or you gonna have to give it everything you got.
What did you run in 2016? I guess what was like your season's best in 2016? Like 9.
I tied my PR with 984.
984. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the last like legit race you had was your PR in 2016 was 984, and then like you just weren't running world class times for 4 straight years, but now you're running like on the edge of becoming that. What do you think if you wouldn't have gotten hurt? What do you think you would have been doing in 2017, 2019? Like, obviously we saw Coleman kind of step up and go to the next level. He beat Bolt in 2017, and then it kept going. But what do you? No, Gatlin beat Bolt. Sorry, and then and then he won in 19. Yeah. What do you think? Where do you think you would have been if injury bug didn't have hit you, based on where you were physically going into 2017?
Man, that's a hard thing to think about, honestly, and that's one topic that I struggle with, like, trying not to think about still to this day, because let's be honest, I was 19 years old running 9.8. No, like nobody's done that, like, ever. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to put that in perspective, plus my work ethic, like, Raina can tell you, like, I think about everything. I dissect everything. Like, I went to school for kinesiology, so I always want to know how I can be better. You know what I'm saying? And I try to understand how to be better. My work at, like, when I got to Baylor, my mindset was like, hey, can we help me get better? If so, I'm going to give you the guts. I'm going to give you the drive. I'm going to give you the passion and the power to do whatever you need me to do as an athlete to get better. So with that work ethic, man, I can't honestly tell you what I would have ran. Because if we being honest, I ran 984 slowing down at the age of 19. That could have been a 9.7 run at the age of 19 if I didn't slow down when I was in lane 1 at Eugene. So it's hard to think about, man. I don't know what I would have been running if I didn't have the injuries. But the thing I like about the injuries is that it make the story better. Like, it's all part of the prophecy that, God has for me. Like, I've been facing injuries my whole life. I broke both of my knees. I broke my hip, my Achilles. Like, it's just part of the story, man. And maybe, like I said, God just has something for me to voice to the world that's going to help, us see more athletes in our sport, to not give up. Like I said, it's been a long 4 years. It's been a lot of thoughts. And I mean, shoot, I just got to keep running. I can't really think about what I would have been able to run. I got to think about what I can do now.
What do you think you can do now? Or like, man, in the next 2-3 years?
Like I said, I think we still have a lot of work to do. With 2017, I tried to come back and run at USA's, went to 10.2, but like I said, I had that scar tissue from the first injury and not knowing that it was still bad. Had to go back under surgery. 2018 couldn't run. 2019 couldn't run. Like, I ran at the end of 2019, and then we're here now. So I haven't had like a lot of base work, man. Like, strengthening is still coming together. Like, I think the speed is there. Speed is still there. But I have to get to the point where I can carry that speed, and I think that's the biggest thing. I definitely think I can run faster than 10.0. I definitely think that. But as far as seeing the times that the world wants to see, I think we still have a lot of work to do. Like I said, I haven't done a lot of strength. Like, I got the Rangers group. We had to rehab like crazy to get me into form, to just be able to get through the practices. So it's not something that's just, going to come easily. But I do think, like what, you all said on the podcast the other day, like, I think the Olympics being pushed back was a big up for me, because that's giving me another year under Raina's belt to train, and get the development that I need to be able to run the times that the world wants to see. Do I think it's possible? Of course. Like I don't ever think anything is impossible, and I think that's my faith side. And I believe in Raina and his training. I believe in my training partners as well. We push each other. So that's why I don't think it's impossible to see me back running the 9.8s. I don't think that's impossible because my training group not gonna let me fail. My coach ain't gonna let me fail. So we all trying to develop and run fast because this is what we love doing.
Well, obviously, as a star 100-meter runner, there was some 100-meter running news that happened earlier this year. Christian Coleman potentially might not be able to run at the Olympics. What was your reaction to the third missed test or whereabouts failure, being a fellow competitor in that event?
It's crazy because I knew the question was gonna come up. Honestly, man, like I look at it like this: we all adults and we all have responsibilities, at the end of the day. And like I've seen him voice that, a lot of people aren't in his position. So that's acknowledgement, knowing that you are held accountable for everything, and I think that's one thing that he has to acknowledge himself, because I guess, like I said, I'm a realist when it comes to things. I grew up around a lot of older men, and they always taught me, especially being a man, if you have a job and your boss tell you to do something and you don't do it, what is the consequences? A lot of the time you get suspended. A lot of the time you get laid off. And if this was a real world situation, we're blessed to have a fairy tale lifestyle, if we're being honest. We're paid athletes to travel the world at a young age, compete, doing, having fun. Imagine these people at these Fortune 500 companies, or let's say even you all at y'all job. If they say, hey, we got a company meeting and you're not there, what you think gonna happen? Like, it's understanding that, like, as a man, like he's not young. Like, none of us in this sport is really that young. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're adults, and everything. Like I said, I don't wish nothing bad on no athlete, but I mean, he does have to understand the situation is in his hands. It's acknowledging the action that you created, in a sense. Like, everything has a cause and effect, man. Like, at the end of the day, it don't, like I said, it don't really got nothing to do with me. Like, but like you asked, so like I said, my thing is, man, we're grown, and you got to take on the responsibilities at hand, because you the superstar. You know what I'm saying? And you have to understand, like, it's gonna be people around you. It's gonna be actions taken towards you just because of who you are, and you have to be ready at all times. And if that's staying home, that's staying home. Like, you can't risk that. Like, I know for me, like, if I'm in a position, man, this is how I eat, this is how my family eat. Like, I'm not taking no risk. Like, and I think that's what, I've heard a lot of people speak out on it, like Christian Taylor and Tiana Barletta and everything. Like, you gotta understand, man, it's some people out here that wish was in his position. And if they were, they wouldn't have took the risk, man. It's a risk. I think that's the thing that a lot of people want him to realize. It was a risk. And I'm from a place where you take a risk, sometimes you dead, sometimes you in jail. Not saying them are the situations he in, but understand the effects of risks. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I think everybody want him to acknowledge, man. Is, like I said, nobody, like, he's talented, and a lot of people want to see him run. But you have to understand that they will be, like, caution to any risk or action that you take. And you're going to be held responsible, because that's how it's going to be in the real world. And I think a lot of people forget the real world perspective. Like I said, we live in a fairy tale world where we get paid lots of money to run and have fun, and not understand, like, man, at the end of the day, this is still a job. People pay you millions of dollars to not mess up. Like, period. We grown.
Have you ever had, like, any, like, confusion or, like, struggles with keeping track of your whereabouts?
Man, I messed up one time on my whereabouts, and it was because I was going to London, and I just happened to, like, forget to do my whereabouts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that it's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? But they do have, you know what I'm saying? Like, ever since then, like, that one time messed me up. Like, I was like, I be on it. Like, I be on my phone, like, look, hey, I'm going down the street. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not playing because I've seen, like I said, I've been a pro since 2015. You know, and I've had, like you said, I've had that limelight of being the top guy. Man, they was at my house like once every like a day, every week, getting blood, getting urine, getting blood and urine. Like so, like some people out here really do understand what it's like to be in his shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, and I was young. So I like I said, I was 18, 19 years old. And these people at my house, 6 a.m., 9 p.m., like 5 in the morning. Like I'm up at the track practicing in between a rep. Come here, use the bathroom. Like you gotta be on it. It's so crazy how scary they make it, you know what I'm saying? To the point, like I'm putting in deep detail when I'm look, you saw I need y'all to come through 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Look, if I'm not here, you come to the track. I promise you I'm there. If I'm not there, I'm at the crib. Like, no, y'all not about to get me. Like, no, this how my mama eat. Like, this how my family eat. Like, I got people to feed. Like, I can't mess up. So, like, yeah, I'm like we human, you know, sometimes you slip up, but it gotta, like, you gotta have a reasonable like my explanation. I had to catch a flight ASAP to go see a doctor. You know what I'm saying? I had to go. It was like like I said, for my injury, I had to go. So I'm thinking like, man, I'm trying to save my career. Like I wasn't thinking, but like, bro, going shopping. Come on now, like that. I'm sorry. Like when you make that much money, look, hey, Neiman Marcus, hold my Louis Vuittons. You feel me? Like, look, like, cause that's what I do. Like when I get my jeweler, all my stuff get custom made, sent right to my house. Like, nah, I ain't taking no risk. I'm not leaving my crib during my time. Like, I'm not. Like that's just the thing. That's the things that we have to look at. You know, when we take on these responsibilities. And like I said, like I know he don't mean no harm. And people ask me like, do I think he's doping? I don't think he's doping, but I think he had to acknowledge the fact that he messed up. I think he wouldn't have got a lot of backlash and things from people on social media if he would have just acknowledged, like, hey y'all, I shouldn't have went to the mall. I should have stayed home. Like it wasn't like, oh, my parent was in the hospital or something. You know what I'm saying? Like where it was just like, I gotta go. Like, bruh, you a millionaire. Like it's nothing that you need that bad, dog. Like not to where to take away money out your pocket. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like and I don't want to make it a race thing, but yo, you in a position to make a lot of money, you know, for your culture. Like, don't risk it. It's not worth it, yo. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Because who's to say? Like I said, I guess because I seen the other side. I was up here and I went down. So I seen what it's like to lose money. I missed 4 years of opportunity to make money, to be able to take care of my mama better and things like that. It sucks. It sucks. The thought of thinking like, man, could my career be over and I got to go get a real 9 to 5? So I think that's why a lot of people want him to acknowledge, like, dude, you just have to do better because of the position that you're in. You have a lot of responsibility. Like, you are grown. He's not 18. He's not 17. Like, he's not like these Islanders who go pro out of high school. Like, he's only a year younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So how the world would treat me, or how the world would treat you as an adult in these circumstances, he has to understand why they're treating him the way they do. Like I said, it sucks. So it's a bad rep for him. I do feel bad, but you have to understand the repercussion of the actions that you take, you know.
So you've had a lot of time to watch track, I guess, these past 4 years versus being in it. And I feel like when you're in the circuit, you kind of are not really focusing. You're more just focusing on your own training and your own world. But now that you had a chance to kind of watch multiple like world championships and multiple USAs, what's some of the what's been one of the things that impressed you most about other athletes that you've seen come up while you've been waiting to get back on the track, which hopefully you are now on the track moving forward?
So like, yeah, I since being out, I think my biggest thing, I see a lot of passion and work ethic. Like I said, being with Raina's group, of course, a lot of the guys are the top guys that's in the group. So it's like seeing them and their energy and everything throughout these years is a marvelous thing to see, you know. And then watching like Doha, like after actually being around these guys and watching them run, I'm just like, man, they don't know the passion and the drive these guys have at practice and the joy, you know, they experience. like doing this. And then, like I say, seeing guys like just tap into other talents and things like that, and voicing it out into like social media. I think that was definitely a big thing. You know, I seen a lot of like people just doing other things besides just being titled to an athlete. You know, so that was one thing that I think stood out for me, is just seeing that, you know, we're not just labeled to one thing.
So you move from Texas to Florida. A lot of people from Texas think Florida is not as good as Texas, and a lot of people from Florida think Texas is not as good as Florida. Right? There's a little bit of rivalry, and you have kind
Yeah,
of been on. I know you can say you're on one. You've been playing both sides of the field in a way, right? You're grown up in Florida. That's your birthplace. That's your home.
yeah,
But you also represented Texas for a long time, training there, representing a university there. So
yeah.
how do we settle the debate between Texas, Florida? First of all, what's your take, and how do we make sure we truly know who produces the best track athletes?
Man, I say, like, Texas is cool. Texas is a cool place. One, I want to voice this. I don't know why everybody think that I'm from Waco. Like everybody, people like on social media, like, oh, he's from Texas, he's from Waco. I'm like, I'm not from Waco. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. Like I'm a Floridian, you know. And my thing is, man, I don't think it's nothing better than Florida. That's just my God honest truth. I just think just we produce speed. I think we've seen that with football. We've seen that with track. Like we just produce speed guys. Not on for Texas. I mean, they got a great, you know, resume of quarter milers and sprinters, you know, and of course they're known for football because how big their guys are. But I think that Florida has always held a title for being a fast state. Like I said, our football players, they may not be big, but they fast. Our track athletes, they're fast. It's hard to really beat that, you know, at the end of the day. Like our weather is hot year round. Like it get cold in Texas. Like stuff get the icing over. Like sometimes it'll snow a little bit. In Florida, you're not getting that. You get rain, but it's hot. It's hot all the time. So it's like, man, it's hard to beat a place where we can train year round.
Is there any way we can get a dual meet going where we find, or just a race where it's a 4x1, right? Two 4x1s, Texas born 4x1
Man,
and Florida born 4x1.
I always
How can we
wanted
get
to
this
do
to
that. I'm not,
how can we get to happen?
man, that's something that y'all gonna have to talk to USATF about. Like, cause they're gonna be the only ones that gonna be able to financially put it together. Because I'm like, trust me, I'm down. Like, I'm down for it. I think it'll be a good way to like settle everything. You know, you have a 4x1, a 4x4, and a 4x2. Cause I feel like those like are big challenges. Like you always had a debate with the 200. You always had a debate with the 100. 4x4, like the 400, I ain't gonna lie, that'll be a challenge. 4x4 will be a challenge because Texas, they got some horses. They always had some horses. But I still think Florida will come out on top. That's just me. I think we'll take the 4x1 and we'll take the 4x2 by heart, like easy. I think we'll do that. But 4x4 will be a challenge. But I don't think it'll be like a easy win. Like I think it'll be like a blanket finish, like it's going head to head, like to the finish line.
Has it been hard though, being in Texas, surrounded by Texans, and having to kind of be like not secretly, but like keep your Florida pride when you're surrounded
Oh
by?
no. Oh no. They know me. I'm Florida. I'm Florida to the death of me. So like trust me, anytime the conversation come up, man, I'm the loudest voice in the room. I'm gonna rep my state. I'm gonna rep my state all day. So it's funny. Like every time they come on, like, oh, who got the fastest high schoolers and all that, I'll be like, man, we got me, Kendall Williams, Demps, Marvin. Like the list go on. Like we've been the top guys year after year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like coming out of high school. I'm like, come on, man. Like y'all know Florida got the rep for the 100.
Virginia's kind of coming in there. They got Noah and Grant. That's two. They got two. Noah
Man, let me
Lyles and Grant
look.
Holloway.
Noah was born in Florida.
Oh,
Don't
he
let him
was.
fool you. He was born in Florida. He was
Oh,
born
so
in
you,
Florida.
you, you get credit for
I,
Noah that he's.
I asked Josephus one day. I did a photo shoot with him, and I asked him. I said, "Dang, you know, like why y'all left, you know, Virginia to come?" He's like, "Bro, we were born in Florida." I said, "Oh, okay," because like I was talking to him and everything, and you know, like when I'm you know I'm back home, like my Florida lingo come out a little bit, and we be talking, and I'm like, bro, like. You from Florida? I'm like, nah. I'm like, so it's crazy. Like, yeah, they really from Florida. So it's like that's still another one on the list. even though
So
they
you
got
got
Virginia high school stats, but they still from the great state of Florida.
and then you could say, I guess, Grant technically you could pull he's he was groomed in Florida. You could say that, right? He was groomed at University of Florida, so you could give him Florida
Nah,
credit
he
there
got
as
to be
well.
born. He got to be born here. He got to be born in Florida. That's the thing. I tell people. So it's funny. I know people that come to Florida, even though they're not born in Florida, and then they rep it. I'm like, look, we love the love,
Oh,
but you're not from here. You're not from here. That's just how it is, So it's like, look, you from where you from. Like I'm born and raised Florida, like Central Florida to the death of me. That's me. I'm always gonna be that Floridian, So I tell people like, man, look now, in nowhere in them sense they were born here, then they left. Okay, cool, That was a mom and dad decision. That wasn't y'all decision. So I can't hold y'all accountable for that. But coming to Florida and then like, nah, man, look, you born where you born at.
so they got to show that they got to have receipts. They got to have that birth certificate to show where they
Yeah,
were
they gotta
actually
have that
born.
birth certificate. They gotta have that birth certificate, man. They gotta be born. I need to see the hospital, the date and time.
So what are you doing next, man? I mean, there's not many track meets going on. Are you going to be able to hop in any more local things, or what's next few months for you going to be like?
Man, so right now we just training. Well, we keeping our ear out. We're hearing that, it's gonna be just like local meets coming up. So, we just trying to train, man, and try to make the next meet better. Preparation is key. Like I said, this race, man, it was a great time. Definitely it was a breath of fresh air for me. But I still have some stuff with my start and reaction that I want to work on. I still have some stuff with my finish I want to work on. And once that is in play, I think we'll start seeing even more faster times from me. But not only just me, like our group, man. Like, man, I don't even know how to tell y'all. Before this pandemic, man, seeing our group train, man, was like heaven on earth. Like, I'm talking about from men and women. Like, we were ready before that pandemic, man. Like that took a toll on. I know it took a toll on everybody, but man, dog, like when I tell you guys was running times that I was like, yo, like the world is about to be in a shock when we step on the track. So it's just trying
Who's
to,
gonna
make.
who's gonna surprise?
And I can't say that. I can't say that,
You
man.
can't.
That's
Oh,
for
come
them to
on.
show y'all. That's just
Oh, okay.
that's for them to show y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like ain't nobody put out there like, oh, Trey looking good. Be ready for Trey to run fast. Like, no, man, look, go have fun. Like that's how we we process and do everything. So we train, and then when we step on the track, we're ready. At all times. So right now, of course, I'm fresh to the group, so I'm still being groomed, and everything. So I'm just, getting into that mold of, the new me. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I know Raina and our PT Andy preached to me a lot is not to look at the past, because the past me is not going to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, the past me didn't have Achilles injuries. So we have to mold myself into the new me. So this new Trayvon y'all going to see is a fresh start. Like I had to relearn my mechanics. I had to find a new beginning for me. And now we just working on that. And I think, like I said, this year has definitely helped, and I think it's going to lead to a great next year. Like, I definitely have no doubt about that.
Was there ever uh, a moment when you thought about retiring?
Man,
Like
look,
especially after 19 when you went 10-5 and
2018, I was thinking about getting up out of here. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was ready. I could, like, I'll tell y'all, it got dark for me. Like, it got real dark. Like, look, all I'm gonna say is I got something that I'm working on right now that I'm gonna release to the world that's gonna tell y'all everything that I've been through. Like, from the dirt. I'm talking about everything from 2016 to now. It's gonna get deep. It might scare a lot of people. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it get deep. Like, it's some dark things in there, and people will see what all I went through and why this makes the story so sweet. And I had to understand, like I said, with my faith, that God created a lot of beautiful things out of the destruction. Let's look at the Grand Canyons. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always use the metaphor of the rose coming from the concrete. Like, it's humbled me in a different way to why I say now I'm in a new life of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the Trayvon that people known back in 2015, 2016. Like I'm still him, but spiritually and internally, I'm different, man. Like this is a new beginning. And around 2018, man, I was really ready to just text my agent, like, man, I have nothing left. Like I've tried everything. Like I am broken. Like physically and mentally. Like I have nothing left in me. So yeah, man, it was some scary times, man. Like it was some scary times, but I'm here. Like I said, I thank God that I'm alive and I'm blessed, and we're gonna keep grinding. Like I said, I got a support team like no other, and this team, man, and my spiritual group, man, it's like no other. Like I'm reborn, and I feel good that God still want to use me.
If you say you called your agent saying you had nothing left, why are you here now running 10:04?
Man,
Like
because people believe.
what changed your mind? You know?
Like I think it's the belief that people had and have in me, and I never knew why. Like I said, when I was young, when I broke both of my knees, me, my mom, and like I said, my coach that passed away, like we literally watched the doctor and heard the doctor tell me that I would not be fast again. And then I wanted to quit sports. Like my mama could tell you, like I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play football no more. I don't want to run track no more. Like I'm done. Like I'm gonna just be a regular kid, and whatever happened with my life is what's gonna happen. And it took my coach and my mama to be like, no, God got something for you, and it was still some stumbles, man. Like I came back after my injuries running 11:3. It's my fastest time. So I'm like, man, what do y'all see in me? You know what I'm saying? And then my senior year of high school, I go to run 9:99, but I went 10:1, 10:2, went legal. So it's like people see something in me that I never seen in myself. And I think I hit that patch again in 2018 where I no longer seen myself in the picture. But it took people to be like, Trey, like, don't give up. Like, keep pushing, like keep going. Seeing my coach fight through her struggles with her, her being diabetic and being in and out of hospital, but she continued to tell me to fight. So I couldn't just stop. Like even like when I first got in the Rainer group, like I would tell some of the teammates, like just some of the, like I said, the things that I've been through, and like they continue to tell me to keep fighting. So it's the belief, man. Like people gotta understand though, that love, that connection that you build with other individuals when they there for you, it'll motivate you to keep going. And like I said, if I would have been the young guy coming out of middle school and high school that felt like they had nobody, I don't know where I would have been right now. But by the grace of God, like I'm thankful to have individuals that care about me, you know what I'm saying, that tell me to keep pushing and keep going and not give up.
Man, Trey, I really appreciate taking the time to chat with us. I remember like doing an interview with you when you were in college and you had like the Baylor backdrop and think you're you remember
Yeah.
doing that when we did a little Skype interview back in like 2014 or
Shoot,
15?
I still got the picture. I got the picture somewhere in my phone. I actually, yeah, because I remember exactly what I had on. I had on some navy blue and lime green Air Maxes. Yeah, I had on the green shirt. Yeah, I remember that. I still got it. I still got that picture.
And we got kind of a similar backdrop right now. Look, I got my little pictures. You got the little dynamic pictures too.
Hey, look,
We have this.
I got my shots by TV, man. Shots by
Oh,
TV.
nice. How's that going? Yeah, how's the photography business going for Trey?
Man, it's lovely, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I love the arts in general. Like I love music. So y'all know y'all see like me post music and stuff that I do. I do photography. I got into videography. So I love making people look good. Like that's my thing. You know what I'm saying? So I got into photography a lot more throughout the years. Like after 2017, and I just started studying it. I almost went back to school and I got accepted into the New York Academy, New York Arts Academy. So I was about to go back to school and like get into photography, but then I was like, pay almost 100 grand for a degree when I could just learn everything on YouTube. Not happening. So I was like, like it would be a waste of money because as we all see, like if you follow my Shots by TV page, I've gotten like a lot better. Like a lot of photographers started to like look at my work and they're like just blown away by the stuff that I've learned and done with my work just off of being self-taught and learning like off of YouTube and just asking questions and studying it on my own. So it's been cool, man. People be reaching out, they want to work, but right now, like I said, I'm still full-time track athlete. But once it's done, like I definitely want to be somebody personal photographer. Get into
So
that
when you
music industry.
see when you see photos of yourself running on the track, by like the professional photographers. Do you look at it differently, like with a little critique, like, oh man, you could have taken a
Man,
different
look.
shot like this?
Hey, I really do though. Like that's the crazy thing. So when I got back into photography and I look at pictures of myself, I'm like, man, I could have did that better. Like I could have shot that a little better. Like he need to change this ISO. He need to, do this shutter and everything. Like I'm like, oh, he ain't shooting right. He ain't shooting right. But I think it's when I started to learn the camera more because a lot of photographers fail when they get a camera and they just put it on auto and shoot and the image can come out nice, but it could be so much better. And I didn't learn that until I started reaching out to all these big name photographers. So when I see photos of me, I'm like, man, let me take, like, even for Baylor at one point in time, I was the photographer and I would get some of the images and it'd be in the newspaper and everything. I'd be like, yeah, like, that's how you catch a photo. I was like, that's how you get the photo. So like I said, maybe one of these days y'all will see me out there at the NFL games or something, shooting with Odell or something like that.
I could just see you win an Olympic medal or a world medal and that winning shot, right? And then you're like so pumped, and then you see the photo, you're like, oh man, this is a great win and all, but I want the photo.
I'll be like, look, retake the picture, dial down on the
I'll
ISO.
do it again. You go out there and you like kind of rerun it for them, do it, recreate it.
Look, man, that photography lifestyle, man, I love it. It's definitely something that gets my mind off a track sometimes because as athletes, we gotta admit that sometimes we put everything into it and it's not healthy, in our mental state. Because we have a bad practice, it hit us hard if that's the only thing we think about. So photography, it gets me away from that sometimes. Like it gives me some relief,
Yeah, well, I just want to again say thanks, man, for coming on the pod. I personally am super pumped for you, man. I guess I was like a lot of people who thought like maybe Trayvon's peak was 2016 and we don't get to see him ever again on the track. But following you in 2014, 15, 16, that's when I started working at Flow. So you were like one of the first college pro athletes I followed. So it's fun to know that I get to start covering you again for these next 4 years plus. So that's exciting.
Hey man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love. Yeah, I was just telling Raina that I was like, yeah, man. I say, yeah, me and G, man, we've been talking since like I got into college and got out. So like I said, man, I appreciate all the support from like everybody. Like people who still around and definitely still supporting this. It's gonna be it's still part of the journey. We still fighting. Faith, focus, finish, and we're gonna see what these next few years take me.
I got to get a rematch of you in that 40-yard dash. Remember when I raced you? The 40-yard dash? I need a rematch.
Yeah. Hey, look,
I've been training.
You're going to have to talk that. You're going to have to talk that through Raina.
I should have raced you like in 2018. That's when I probably had my best shot. But now you're running 10:04. I don't really have a shot anymore.
A lot of people would have had a good shot beating me then, for real.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot, and stay safe there in Florida.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Appreciate it. Peace.